Let's talk about Superman. So I am filming this video right after I got home from the early screening at Warner Bros. Studios, making me one of the first people in the entire world to see the movie, which is still so weird to me, but obviously I couldn't talk about it until the week of the movie, so that's why you're seeing it now. Also, I want to point out the fact that Warner Bros. Has not paid me a single cent to make this video, to go see the movie early. This is my genuine, honest thoughts. It seems to be a trend that people just think that because we're content creators that we always just get paid by studios to say good things. That's not the case, okay? I'm telling you right now that they have not paid me a cent. This is my own fruition. These are my own thoughts. Walking out of the theater, I did take quite a bit of notes about this movie, things I wanted to talk about, things that came to my mind while I was watching. But I do want to make this video, as short and dense so that you get the idea. I like to try to make my reviews as quick as possible so that you do get the idea without it, spoiling too much. So that's what we're going to do here, but no promises because I'm pretty excited. So without further ado, here is my review of Superman. If you would have told me last year that James Gunn's Superman would have been one of the most comic accurate superhero movies that we have ever seen, I probably would have believed you, because let's be honest, James Gunn is one of the few directors that I feel like reads comics and understands what makes them work and how to translate them onto the movie screen. And this movie is better than he's ever done. And when I say comic accurate, I don't just mean like the characters, I mean like legitimately the whole vibe of the movie just felt like he took a Superman comic book, shook it, and this movie fell out. From the characters to their powers to the cinematography, everything about it was just like you're reading a comic book, and I don't really understand how he does that. But with that all in mind, knowing that going into the movie, I still was not prepared for just how deep this movie was gonna go. I mean, the amount of thought and heart that was put into like every single frame. And I already previously mentioned the cinematography, but it's wild. I legitimately have never seen a movie look the way this movie does. It's just so stylized and vibrant and alive. Every single shot is doing something in a way that like a lot of movies just have never done. Like, I've never wanted to look away during this film. It's quite incredible. And one of the biggest worries that I had and a lot of other people had going into this movie was that it felt like there was gonna be a lot going on, a lot of characters, a lot of plots. And while that is the case, kind of, it's not in like a bloated way. They do it, they pack in densely a lot of things, but it all makes sense and it never feels like it's dragging. It just feels like a comic book, and a lot of stuff goes on in comic books, but it doesn't feel like it's too much, and this is the same way. I can't really explain it. There's also a lot of action scenes, a lot more than I was anticipating, and that's awesome. That's always awesome when you're going into a superhero movie, because that's kind of what you're going to see, and there's a lot of it. Now, let's talk about David Corenswet, the genuinely most good and kind Superman that we have ever gotten. He's not at all reluctant. He doesn't question whether humanity deserves saving. He just does it. He's genuinely kind. He saves animals. He shows mercy to villains. And most importantly, he doesn't just talk about hope. He embodies it. There's a couple of moments in this movie where other characters will call his compassion weak. They'll call him a big softy. And what Gunn does so brilliantly in this movie is flip that idea on his head and show that Clark's compassion for people is actually his greatest strengths. And that's one of the, main themes of the movie. And Corenswet plays it so perfectly. There's just this genuine old school charm to him, even in the way that he talks. He hits you with the oh geez and the what the hey. It's just it's so like, it feels like it should be corny, but it's not. It just makes you love him even more and makes him feel like the character of Superman even more. It's great. He's just a genuine guy who may or may not be a little bit naive to the world, but that makes him just even more good and kind and lovable. I can't explain it. Okay, now I really want to talk about the relationship between Clark and Lois. Rachel Brosnahan owns Lois Lane, okay? She is now the new blueprint for the character. I'm putting that out there. She's smart, relentless, and very human, and one of the things that make their relationship so perfect in this movie is that it's not perfect. They fight, they argue, and there are moments in this movie where if you didn't know the outcome, you would genuinely think, oh, they might not make it. The chemistry between David and Rachel is insane, like actually insane. The scene from the trailer that you've all seen at this point where Lois is interviewing Superman is one of the best dialogue scenes of the entire movie because it honestly shows those two characters in their purest forms, and in those forms they don't get along because Lois is always looking for reason and she's always thinking about outcomes and like why you should do what you do, but Superman is not that way. He does good and doesn't really think about the outcome. He just does what is necessary. So that scene where they're trying to find a middle ground is beautiful. Their relationship through the entire movie is two flawed, passionate people just trying to hold on to something that they know is real, and it's so good. Okay, now Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. He might have just entered the top tier of comic book villains, something that I did not expect that I would say. He has some monologues that are genuinely Shakespearean, and I'm not even joking when I say that. They feel like they were pulled from a Christopher Nolan movie. They're personal and emotional, and you can feel how much he wants to be Superman, or kill him, or both maybe, I don't even know. What makes this version of Lex Luthor so scary is that he already understands Superman. He can get under his skin. He is always 10 steps ahead, and I love how this movie highlights how much smarter Lex Luthor is than Superman. But he's also just a bad person, to be honest. He's just mean, and Nicholas Hoult is very good at this. Now I want to shout out two major standouts that I didn't expect in this movie. First of which is Mr. Terrific, okay? He steals every single scene he's in. Somehow, he is one of the funniest characters in the entire movie, and has one of the best action sequences of the entire movie. This action sequence also feels like very original James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy-esque. You'll know exactly what it is when it happens. Trust me. Number two is Ma and Paul Kent. We must protect them at all costs, okay? I don't care how strong Superman is. These two are his real superpower and some of the most wholesome people that I have ever seen in a movie ever, and I'm not even kidding. One thing that this movie gets extremely right is that Superman is not about power, he is about choice. The entire story centers on Clark choosing to be good again and again, even when the world tells him not to, even when the people that he respects don't believe in that kind of kindness, and even when he doesn't believe in himself anymore. There's a moment that obviously I'm not going to spoil where something huge happens, and Clark literally has to be convinced that who you are and goodness is something that you choose and nobody can tell you to be. And that is the essence of this movie and this character. The best way that I can describe this Superman movie is that it captures the essence of the character the same way that Matt Reeves' The Batman captures the essence of Batman. And it does it with very little mistakes, to be honest. I've tried very hard to think of something that I just didn't like in this movie, and it's very difficult. And if this is the foundation for the brand new DC cinematic universe, then my goodness, are we in good hands, and I need more immediately. So as of now, around a day and a half after seeing it, I honestly give this movie a 10 out of 10. I genuinely can't find anything wrong with it. I'll need to see it a couple more times, obviously, but that's my status as of now. I think it is one of the most brilliant superhero movies ever crafted. So if you haven't already, consider liking and subscribing this video, and please go see Superman in theaters on July 11th.